Okay, so we are going to do resource and development. Okay. Now, first of all, what is resource? Okay. Moksha, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you see my screen? So everything available in our environment which can be used to satisfy our needs, provided it is technically accessible, economically feasible, and culturally acceptable, it is called a resource. Okay. So not everything that is you cannot say just sunlight is a resource, and no, it is not a resource until and unless we are able to use it. Okay. So what are the resources? The water, forest, soil, wind, animals. Okay, all this has to be accessible to us. It has to be accessible to us, technically accessible, economically feasible, and cultural acceptable. Okay. Next is technology, nature, and institutions are interdependent. Okay, now everything is interdependent. It is the nature, institutions, and the technology are interdependent to each other, and human beings interact with nature through technology and develop institutions to accelerate their economic development. Okay, anybody wants to note it down quick, and then I will move to the next slide. Last class we have already done this. So the now we know what is the resources, and now we are going to do classification of resources on the basis of origin, on the basis of exhaustion. Exhaustion means how much it is used, means it is used up, and on the basis of ownership, on the basis of status of development. Okay, now on the basis of origin, we have two categories: biotic resources. So the resources which are obtained from the biosphere and contain life are called biotic resources. The resources which are composed of non-living things and do not contain life are called abiotic resources. And now these examples are fishes, fishes, human beings, animals, plants. These are all living things. Okay, now human is also a resource. Okay, next is the biotic resources. These are rocks, metals, soil, minerals. These are non-living. Okay, so they are abiotic. Next is on the basis of exhaustibility. It means those resource that is exhausted, then it takes a lot of time for it to form again. Oh God. Okay, now these are two categories, that is renewable and non-renewable. Okay, renewable is solar energy. We have sunlight now. We can have sunlight tomorrow also. So solar energy, wind energy, hydro energy, that is with water, bioenergy, that is with plants, geothermal energy. Okay, so the resources which can be renewed or reproduced by physical, chemical, and mechanical process are called renewable resources. Note this down. Non-renewable resources are coal, petroleum, nuclear, metals. Okay, the resources that cannot be renewed or reproduced immediately, once they are exhausted, they take millions of years to regenerate, are called non-renewable resources. Okay, once we have used the coal, it takes many million years to form coal again. Once we have used our petroleum, it takes many long years for petrol to be produced again. Okay. Now, on the basis of ownership, we have certain other categories, that is individual resource, community owned resources, national resources, and international resources. Okay, now first we are going to do individual resources. Okay, now what a one person owns is his own property. Okay, so that is his plot, his house, his field, his plot, his house, his field, his van. These are all his personal property, books, pen, cars. Okay, so the resources which are owned privately by individuals are called individual resource. Okay, on the basis of ownership, next is community owned resources. Now one person owns an individual house or a plot, but there are also community resources, that is many people of a community together hold a property. Okay, so the resource which is owned by community or society are called community owned resources. Okay, now this can be picnic spot, this can be a land, a public place, public parks. Okay, ponds. This could be animals. Okay, like dairy animals. Okay, so national resources. These are the resources that the nation owns. Okay, these are technically all the resources belong to the nation, that is the country. All the plot here, all the ponds here, all the parks here are actually the nation's. Okay, and even if it is your own plot, if there is a need, the nation can take over your plot also. Okay, so the government has legal powers to technically all the resources belong to the nation. The government has legal powers to acquire even private property for public good. Okay, now national, what are the national resources? We are talking about, that is the minerals that are there in the country, water resources, the forest, okay, and the animals, okay, oceanic area up to 12 nautical miles, that is 22.2 kilometers. So over here, up to this area, that is 22.2 kilometer is of the nation. Now this is international. Okay, and but this is up to 22 kilometers. It is ours. Okay, this area, that is 12 nautical miles is ours. Okay, now we've come to international resources. Now international resources are governed by the international institutions. Okay, now like I told you, after the 200 nautical, it becomes international waters. These are international waters. Okay, now the decision of these, anything that happens here is going to be taken by the international institution. Okay, now let us note this down. The resources which are not owned by any specific country, which is regulated by international institutions, such resources are called international resources. I note it down. Okay, let's move on. Now, the next category is on the basis of status of development. This is potential resource. There is developed resources. This is a DE. Okay, stock reserved. So on the basis of, let's do potential resources. Okay. The resources which are found in a region and they have potential to satisfy human needs, but their utilization has not been started because technology is so expensive. Okay. Now, example, Gujarat and Rajasthan have potential for solar and wind energy. Okay, they have, because it is very bright sun over there, and in Gujarat it is there are very fast wind. Okay, so there, but there are no solar plants and there is no wind turbines. Why? Because there is a lot of investment in it. Okay, so this is a potential resource that is we can have, but we have not been using it because of expensive technology. Okay, so the next heading is on the basis of on the basis of status of development. So we have developed resources. Okay, so the developed resources are resources which are surveyed and quality and quantity has it determined for utilization, and they are currently used by humans. Such resources are called developed resources that we have already surveyed, we have verified its quality, we have verified its quantity. Okay, and we know how we are using it, how much we are using it. Okay, so these are coal, petroleum, iron, and rivers. Okay, these are developed resources. Now, stock. The resources which have potential to satisfy human needs, but there is no appropriate technology to access them. Okay. Now we know that, like we know, we have water. The formula of water is H2O. Okay. Now we need hydrogen. Okay. And we need oxygen. Okay. So hydrogen and oxygen from water we can divide. We can separate hydrogen and we can separate oxygen. Of course it will be very useful, but we do not have the potential. Okay, to satisfy the human. Why we cannot do this? Because we don't have the technology. Okay, so the resource which are potential to satisfy human needs, but there is no appropriate technology to access them. Example, extracting oxygen and hydrogen from water, that is H2O. Next is the reserved. Okay, now technology is reserved, and we have the resources which can be utilized with the help of existing technology, but we do not use them because we kept them for future requirement. Okay, now we have to save our water, we have to save the forest. Okay, because if we are going to use up all this, we are going to endanger the future, right? All of you understand till now, Moksha? You understand, baby? Uh, Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Understood, ma'am.
Okay, fine, fine.
Yes, ma'am, understood.
Okay, then. Great. So the development of resources, okay, resources are very important to us because they fulfill our needs. Now, due to indiscriminate use of resource, we have to face many types of problem in today's time. Indiscriminate use of resource, resources have been exploited. It has been indiscriminated. Okay, how has it been done? We'll talk. First point is depletion of resources for satisfying the greed of few individuals. Some greedy people have cut down the forest, okay, and they have uh, burned down, also exploded the mountains and made cement and cement factories and power, and the pollution has spoiled the climate. So the depletion of resources for satisfying the greed of few individuals. Next is accumulation of resource in few hands, which divided society into segments. The rich have most resources and the poor have no resources at all. So this accumulation of the wealth of the resources in the hands of the rich. Okay, indiscriminate exploitation of resources has led to global ecological crisis. Okay, that is global warming, ozone layer depletion, pollution, land degradation. Okay, the land has become barren. Next, we are going to talk about sustainable development. Okay, okay. Now, what is sustainable development? Environment that should not be damaged. Trees should not be wild. We need to save them for our future. Resources should be left for future generations. The resources should be used in such a way that our environment is not damaged and the needs for future generations are not compromised. This is called sustainable development. Okay. Now we should not use up all the forest. So when our future generation grow up, they will not even know what are trees, right? So before cutting a tree, we should also plant some trees, right? Okay. Now there was these are some international institutions. Okay. In 1992, Rio Janeiro Earth Summit was there. That was held in Brazil. Rio de Janeiro is a place in Brazil. Okay, so the world international first international Earth Summit was held in Rio de Janeiro. Okay, and more than 100 countries had participated. Right? And the reason was their participation was addressing urgent problems of protection, environmental protection, and socio-economic development at the global level. Okay, now the result was because of this, the forest was protected. Global forest principle was there. That was adopted agenda in 21. Now next is resource planning. See, before because we have resource, we do not want to exploit it. We want to save it for the future also. So there has to be a planning. Okay, so now we are going to talk about how should we plan the resources. So why is first of all there is a need. Okay, now solar and wind energy is there and water. Okay, now due to even uneven distribution, just a minute. Due to uneven distribution of the resources, it becomes necessary to balance resource planning. Okay, now all over India, somewhere we have lot of rain, sometimes we have lot of wind, somewhere we have lot of sunlight. Okay, so energy and wind, water, and like we have in Rajasthan, we have energy and wind and water. Okay, and Arunachal Pradesh, we have minerals and we have coal. Okay, so it is all unevenly distributed. Fine. So that's why we need to plan our resources. For planning our resources, the first step is identification and inventory of resources. We have to write down, okay, and we have to do survey, we have to do mapping, we have to do checking, we have to do measurement, okay, of what the resources we have, of all the resources that we have. Second step is evolving a plan structure. There has to be a plan. We have to plan with technology, we have to plan with skilled group, we have to plan with institutions. Okay, now matching the resources plan with overall development plans. So how are we going to use all this step one and step two to overall development? Okay, now technology plays a very important part to develop resources. Okay, now you as you all know, India was ruled by the British before 1947. All of you know that, right? Yeah,
Yeah, ma'am.
yeah, everybody know, right? Yeah, and also
Yes,
we
ma'am.
also know that Britishers used, exported and exploited India's resources, right? There was a reason that they came to India. They were attracted to India because it was rich in resources. India was rich in resources. So what they did, they exported and they exploited the Indian resources. Overall, there is lack of resource in India in today's time in India, right? Most of our resources have already been taken away by the British. So now we have very few resources left. So mm, we have to conserve the resource. Now those that we cannot use it up all, or else will be finished with the resources, right? So in such a situation, it has become necessary to conserve the resources. Okay, now there is a saying of Gandhiji here. There is enough for everybody need, but not enough for anyone's greed. One a person is greedy, it is never enough for him. Okay, so if you are in need, it is of course you there are sources to fulfill your need, but if you're greedy, you will use up everything. So you have to be careful with that. Now let's talk about India. uh, India's first resource is the land resource that we have. Our land resource comprise of agriculture, home, wildlife, and forest. Okay, so distribution of landmass. Okay, now let's talk about the distribution of landmass. So we have 43% plain area, we have 30% mountain, and we have 27% plateau. Okay, land utilization. Okay, first is forest. Okay, land not available for first is forest, second is land not available for cultivation, these are barren and wasteland. Okay, the land for non-agricultural use. Okay, and then third is other uncultivated lands. Okay, that is grazing, that animals are grazing, land of miscellaneous trees. Okay, it is not it is not cultivable. Okay, cultural wasteland, uncultivated for more than 5 years. These land are cultural wasteland. Okay, this has not been cultivated for 5 years. Okay, next is fallow land. Current fallow land is uncultivated for 1 year. Okay, other than current fallow land, that is uncultivated from 1 to 5 years. Okay, next is net zone net zone area, at least once in a year that is cultivated. So we have the gross cropped area sown more than once in a year, plus the area sown at least once in a year. Okay, area sown more than once in a year and area sown at least once in a year. Okay, now this will together going to be formed gross crop area. Okay, okay, now next we go to land use pattern in India. Okay, now land use pattern is this. You can see this. This is there, I think, in your book also. Percentage of forest. We have area under non-agriculture uses, that is 46.2%. Okay, and this is in 14-15. It was 45.5%. Okay, let's analyze this. So the land use in pattern is total geographical area is 3.28 million square kilometers, out of which 93% area we have the data is available, and for 7% area we have no proper data. So 7% we do not is a question mark. Okay, why so? Because this 7% is disputed. Okay, now let's understand what's the dispute here. This dispute is that Pakistan occupied Kashmir, okay, and a part is occupied by China, okay, and a part here also, this side also, in near Arunachal Pradesh also we have land occupied by China. So because of these three occupation, about 7% of our land is disputed, okay. Rest is 93, we have 93% we have proper data is available. Okay, now land use pattern in India. So net sown area in Punjab and Haryana, more than 80% are there. Okay, and in Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, Mizoram, Andaman Nicobar, net sown area is less than 10%. The pattern of net sown area varies gently from one state to another state. Okay, every state is different. Okay, now we have forest area also. In 1960 to 61, we had 18.11% forest, and in 2014-15, we had 23.3% forest. Okay, so we have to so the forest in 1960-61 is 18%, 24-14 is 23%. The forest area has increased over time. Okay, there was less forest, now we have increased. This was happened, why this has happened? Because the national forest policy, according to this policy, the forest was taken care of and more trees were planted. Now why is this necessary to have 33% area? We should according to this policy we should have 33%, but we have only 23 and 18%. Okay, so why is it necessary? It is essential for maintenance of the ecological balance. Okay, if we want the ecological balance in our country, we have to have about 33% forest area. The livelihood of millions of people who live in the fringes of these forests depend upon it. These people, they depend on they plant some trees, their animals go for grazing. Okay, and they have their cultural they have a culture of living in the forest. Okay, so this should be preserved. Now, degradation and conservation measures. Now, land degradation, this is how the land spoils. Okay, the decline of the quality of land is known as land degradation. Now, decline the quality means now it is not fit for agriculture. Okay, degradation. What are the causes of the degradation? First is deforestation. Okay, second is overgrazing. There should be pieces of land differently. There should not the animals should not eat away all each and every grass. So they should be like today and in one part they are grazing, they should be taken in the next day, they should be taken to the another part. Okay. But if they are just left alone and they start grazing in one part all the grass, so that will also degrade the land. Okay, though this happens in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. Okay, now over irrigation, lot of water. See, this happen mostly in Punjab and Haryana and Western UP where the water flows is not controlled and this spoils the crop. Okay, now cement industry generate lot of dust. This happens mostly also in the mountainous area where it is so much dusty that the plantation suffers. And there is of course industrial waste, which is the cause for land degradation. They might also like spill chrome waste like chrome and all that is very harmful to the land. Okay, next conservation measures for land degradation. How do we conserve? Now we have seen how it happens. Now we'll see how we can prevent it. We can prevent it by afforestation. Okay, management of grazing lands means we should not allow the plants animals to graze in one for several days. We should keep shifting them, right? So no proper irrigation, the irrigation water should be controlled. control mining activities where there should be a different area for mining activities where they can put their cement factories and other work. Okay, now for avoiding this waste that is discharged, there should be industrial waste treatment plants are there. Okay, for industrial waste before discharge, they should treat the waste and then they should discharge the chemicals. Okay, so let's talk about soil as a reserve. Okay, now the topmost fertile soil is of the land is called soil. Now, soil is renewable natural resource. It consists of organic and inorganic material. Soil provides medium of plant growth. Living organisms are dependent on the soil. The different types of soils are there: alluvial soil, black soil, red and yellow soil, laterite soil, arid soil, forest soil. Okay. Now let's talk about alluvial soil. Now it is the most fertile soil. We have wheat, we have paddy, and we have sugarcane in such soil. Okay, it is spread over 40% area of India. Alluvial soil is mostly found in northern plains and coastal plains of India, deposited by Ganga, Brahmaputra, and Indus in northern plains, and deposited by deltas of Mahanandi, Godavari, Krishna, and Kaveri on coastal areas. There are two types of alluvial soils. One, old alluvium, that is Bangar. Second, new alluvium, that is Khadar. It presents fine particles of sand, slate, and clay. It has adequate proportion of potash, phosphoric acid, and lime. It is ideal for the growth of wheat, paddy, and sugarcane. Do you people want to note this down? Note this down. Or should I move further? Give me a sign, a hi or something, or a thumbs up or something. That you should I move further? Are you all there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Have you noted it down? Should I move further?
Yes, ma'am, I have noted it.
Good, good. Okay, Moksha. Okay, we'll continue then. Okay, now black soil. So black soil is also called rigor soil. Okay, the soil is best for growing cotton. Cotton. Okay, that is why it is also called cotton soil. The soil is formed from the withering of igneous rocks. It is found mostly in Maharashtra, Saurashtra, Malwa, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh region. Black soil can hold the moisture for a long time. It contains good amount of calcium carbonate, potassium, magnesium, and lime is present. Okay. You want to note this down? Note this down quick, and then we will move further. Okay. Now is yellow, red, and yellow soil. Looks red due to diffusion of iron. Looks yellow soil looks yellow in hydrated form, derived from the weathering of crystalline igneous rock in areas of low rainfall, found in parts of Odisha, Chhattisgarh, and northern and eastern part of Deccan Plateau. Okay. Okay. Next is laterite soil. It is found in areas with high rainfall and high temperature. This soil is less fertile because of its most top layer gets washed away due to leaching. Very less amount of humus content is present, found in Kerala, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Madhya Pradesh, and hilly areas of Odisha and Assam. So here we grow tea, coffee, and cashew nut. Okay. So these are the areas. You see, these are the areas. Okay. Okay. Now next is arid soil. Okay. Now found in areas with scanty rainfall. The color of this soil is red and brown, sandy in texture, and saline in nature. Saline means it is salty. Due to high temperature, soil lacks in humus and moisture. The lower layer of the soil is occupied by conker because of increased calcium content downwards. It is found in western Rajasthan. On western Rajasthan, that is, this is the area. Okay. Now the forest soil, that is the mountain soil. Okay. Now this is found in the hilly and mountainous area where sufficient rainfall is available. This soil found in Himalayan region, western and eastern Ghats, and some part of the peninsula in is found in India. Soil is loomy and silty in valley sides and coarse grained in the upper slopes. This soil is rich in humus but poor in potash, phosphorus, and lime. Now soil becomes less fertile, turns acidic in nature. Why? Because of the mountain, the top area it is less fertile, and downwards it is more fertile. We can grow tea and we can grow coffee. Okay, now we will continue our class next time. It is time. All of you understood till now. This time you have to study about the soil. Okay. In next class, I will give you question and answers and the important notes also. Okay, we will finish the chapter and then I will give you question and answers and I will give you the important notes. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Anybody has any questions? Please ask.
No, ma'am.
Okay, then your homework
No,
is
ma'am.
okay. Then good. Your homework is you have to read the chapter. Fine. Okay. Good night.
Good night, ma'am.
Good night.